Before this video begins, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, be sure to check out my affiliates down below so you can get discounts on different car mods and products. Alrighty, let's get into the drive. Hello and welcome. Today we are reviewing a 2024 Ford Mustang GT Premium. This is an automatic model with the 10-speed transmission, and it comes with the 401A package. I would like to thank Flood Ford Lincoln in Narragansett, Rhode Island, for allowing me to both review and test drive this Mustang. I just did a full in-depth review with this Ford Mustang out on the channel, so make sure to go check that out for a more in-depth tour. But I'll do a quick spec run through now, and then we'll get out on the road. So, this sticker's for around $55,000. It is finished in white and has a red and black leather interior. This is a two-door coupe with seating for 4, and it has a curb weight of around 3,760 pounds. This comes with the new 4th generation, 5-liter naturally aspirated Coyote V8, and the performance exhaust, making 486 horsepower and 418 pound-feet of torque. This is a bit more than the last generation. This is mated with the 10-speed shiftable automatic transmission and has a Ford claimed 0 to 60 time around the low 4-second range. This gets 15, 24, and 19 mpg out of a 16-gallon fuel tank, and it rides on 19-inch alloy wheels all around, with 255s in the front and 275s in the rear. It does also come with ventilated disc brakes and optional Brembo brake pads and calipers. As for safety, you get blind spot monitoring, lane departure alert with lane keep assist, rear cross traffic alert, auto high beams, and thanks to the 401A package, you do get automatic emergency braking. So, this is the 7th generation S650 Ford Mustang, and the last of the American muscle cars. Dodge has killed their Challenger and Charger with V8 engines, and Chevrolet has killed the Camaro entirely. But Ford soldiers on as the first and the last with the manual option in an American V8. So, just a quick moment of silence, filled with a little bit of Ford Mustang GT 4th Gen Coyote revs, just to make it a proper moment of silence for those other muscle cars. Thank you. So, you do get a 3.55 axle ratio with a 3.15 limited slip rear axle in this Mustang. And you do get 13.3 cubic feet of storage in the trunk. The $2,900 package gives you a few things like a 12-speaker audio system, the emergency braking, and some accent stitching, along with some interior touches and some other small stuff. And additionally, something cool, this can be had with a Wi-Fi hotspot in the Mustang, so that's a nice little touch. And that'll just about close the quick spec run through. Make sure to check out my full in-depth POV review for all the stuff. But we are going to drive today, so let's get us out on the road. So, here's the 10-speed shifter, pretty similar to the last generation. The way everyone describes it, and I agree, is this Mustang is basically an evolution versus a revolution. It's very similar to the last generation, but that's not a bad thing, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I don't think many people would call the Mustang broke. And additionally, this does not have active exhaust on this specific spec, so what you hear in the exhaust throughout the video, it's one set thing. But it does still have drive mode, so we'll test a couple of those out, and electronic steering options, so you can make it sport, normal, or comfort. And let's just be cautious. Okay. I'm in normal. Sounds great, of course. That is definitely a Coyote engine, and now it's the 4th gen, so it makes a little more power. And currently driving here, wind noise is very low. I'm going 45 right now. It is not bad at all, and we'll do a 0 to 60 in just a moment. It's the last time I drove a Ford Mustang GT is actually from again Flood Ford. Thank you again to them for giving me these awesome opportunities. But it was about 30 degrees or something that day. I was I was slipping and sliding on the 0 to 60 because you can't hook, you can't get the tires. But right now it's 53 degrees, not insanely warm, but much better, so we can get a more accurate version. And additionally, since then, they have repaved my 0 to 60 road over here, so it's going to be nearly brand new pavement. All right, so these brakes are great. They're Brembos, of course they're typically going to be. They're extremely grabby when you want them to be. You have to go kind of light on the pedal without slamming yourself around. I don't have sports cars, so I'm coming from very normal cars and then driving this, but it's doable. But you do have to do a little caution, because if you go like that, you're gonna, obviously, you're gonna go forward pretty hard with Brembos intact. All right, so let's do some stuff. So these are your drive modes, some really cool graphics. So let's go into track mode so I can do a 0 to 60. They do have a drag mode, but I'm not doing that. All right, so I will come to a stop, floor it, and be silent, and then we'll see how it goes. All right, yeah, she pulls a wee bit. Yeah, I will never decline driving a Mustang. Yeah, there's a bit of wheel spin, understandably. That was very, very cool. But it hooked pretty well. It didn't feel unstable or unsafe once I got up to better speeds, and I'll try to remember to keep my hand off here so you can see the speed, sorry. It does have the modern touch, which I like in cars, is the GPS type mapping thing where it can tell you your speed limit wherever you are. So I like that very much. So it says 25 right there. Yeah, it pulls hard. It doesn't feel all that much different than the last generation. Of course, it's the same Coyote engine, but it has a good bit more power. I think it felt maybe a little more, I don't know how to describe it. It just felt more steady throughout, but I'm nitpicking here. I can't compare this too much. I'm not testing this as a performance car because I'm on normal roads and this is a dealership car. Of course, I'm going to respect their vehicle. I can't do anything too stupid, but in the future, if I happen to get it through a friend or something, then I could do some very stupid things with cars. But for the time being, I'll just discuss its on-road handling, but, you know, in a sporty way, of course. I don't make it boring, so let's just do a little flip around. I'll show you the rear camera. It's very high quality, which is great because all kinds of brands, all kinds of models, they vary drastically. I don't know why, but they all vary. And we're back in normal mode right now, but I'll do a quick little pull. Yeah, so even in normal, it gets out of its own way great. It replies well. It's not the quickest, or it's definitely not hard shifting, which is good. And even in track mode, it's not unforgiving shifting. In the Mustang at least, I like the 10-speed tuning. In the Ford Ranger in particular, I hate it. I don't like how they tuned the Ford Ranger's transmission. Same transmission, but I don't like it at all. However, I like it in here and in a lot of other cars, and some GM cars, they're fine. But yeah, so far I've always enjoyed the Mustang's tuning. Let's do a little paddle shifting. So we're in normal, 5. Okay, yeah, it's pretty slow. But we're in normal, so that's not a fair test. Let's put it in track. Okay. Alright, it's not bad. It's not amazing for the paddle response speed, but I'll pull us out of track too. We don't need to drive in track. That's not typically how anyone will drive, so I'll put it back in normal. But for the steering feel, you can also adjust it well, which is cool. So in comfort, it gets a lot, the whole body, you feel it gets a lot different. Sport gets a lot tighter. Normal's a pretty good medium. Normal might be skewed a little too sporty for some people, at least in the steering, but well, obviously in the steering, but I'm saying in the suspension, it might be a little too tight in the suspension, not just the steering when you change it that way. But it's not too bad. The Mustang is obviously a great heritage car. All kinds of people buy it. It's usually a pretty decent value for its performance, and it's only gotten better with each generation, so especially in the interior here. I like this interior a lot more than the previous one. The screen is definitely opinionated. It's subjective whether you would like the gigantic screen or not, because the way I view it is a lot of people who buy sports cars, at least heritage-based cars, they buy it because they love its old histories and performance across all kinds of literal generations of people. But the having a giant screen, it can be kind of hard for like what a lot of people are as older or middle-aged people who own and buy Mustangs. I don't know exactly how tech savvy they're going to be. I personally am tech savvy, but I'm not saying all of them are going to be. So I can see that being a gripe for a lot of people. Yep, it's a Coyote. Sounds great. With the shrinking market, there aren't many American V8s anymore that are heavily used. So used to be a great sounding one even within the V8 class in my opinion, but now it's just, of all engines, it's starting to be one of the best sounding American engines. But I appreciate you all joining me in that moment of silence filled with Coyote V8 revs earlier. It touches my heart, it truly does. I thank you. But back to the Mustang. It drives really tight. I feel like in this normal mode though, it drives a little too tight maybe, because not everyone's gonna get in and always want to swap to comfort mode for everything, but I could see it, maybe they could soften it a little bit. Comfort, let's pop into comfort. So I'm not just talking about random stuff without, sorry, oh, that's in steering feel. Let's pop into comfort. Yeah, because comfort steering, it loosens the suspension a little bit too, as well as the transmission, it feels like, due to the changing of electronic steering. But I like driving in comfort a little bit better actually. Normal is a little too tight in my opinion. I know it's a Mustang, it's obviously aiming for performance. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just I think some people would broadly prefer comfort mode for most day-to-day versus normal in this. Track feels great, of course, though. It didn't feel unstable or like it was going to step out, surprisingly, going straight in a line, so that was good. If I took it in a corner, you know, I may have some other experiences, but I'm not taking this in a corner today, so we're good. Wind noise is pretty subdued. I'm going almost 60. Wow, I didn't realize I was going that quick. I thought it was like high 40s. It's very good on wind noise. I like this exhaust tuning actually. It's a nice medium, it's loud enough, but it's not droning in here, and it's really not a pain is how I would otherwise view it if this was too loud, because without this active exhaust, you can't really control much of it. This has a performance exhaust for a reason, but you want to make sure it's not droning the whole time either, or just too loud overall. And this has a great balance of the two. I like that. Because the previous Mustang GT, the 2022, that I drove, it had active exhaust. So I haven't actually driven with a straight, consistent volume yet. So far I like it that way. And in just a moment, I'll take it just a little bit faster, nothing crazy. But I'll just see where the wind noise picks up, and tire noise is very quiet. Being 19-inch wheels, it's not bad. You do have some engine noise, I'll admit. I'm not able to have the most keen ear on that, but it's going okay for that type of stuff. And even in comfort mode, it'll get, and I'm driving in normal, but even in comfort steering, you feel confident if you are trying to pass somebody or go fast for a moment, whatever you're doing. It's very confidence inspiring. I like this car so far overall for its confidence. This is very easy and doable to step back into. And once again, that's because the previous generation had a lot of good to it. Let's go into sport steering, and we'll just do normal. We'll go into sport mode, not track, but I'll just go a little bit faster over here. Alright. I don't know if I love that transmission tuning where it keeps you in the gear so long even when you back off the gas pedal. I know why they're doing it, they want you to keep going faster, but this is only sport mode, not track. I think it could shift a little bit more actively on that. I could see that helping a little bit, but nothing bad at all. And for visibility in here, it's about the same as the last generation. It's not too bad. It's aided by a pretty good sized back window relative to some other cars, and blind spot monitoring helps. Lane departure warning with lane keep assist helps. So it's a good mix of safety, but you can turn them off very easily too with like a simple push of a button or two on your steering wheel. I personally like the screen setup. It's just I don't know how well it will age, because once again, not everyone who drives a Mustang is tech savvy, or if you're on the younger side, you're typically going to be more tech savvy. That can also be a lot of people that way, but I'm not sure. I'm kind of neutral on it. On my personal usage, I'm okay with it, but I see a lot of people that would prefer maybe some more buttons and stuff like that. But yeah, that's gonna mostly wrap up the review, actually. As for the price on this at $55,000, I think it's a good value. In today's car market especially, we have ridiculous prices everywhere, but the Mustang is really not bad at 55. So it's an updated interior, it's an updated exterior, so it looks a little less aged. A lot more tech coming standard or within lower priced packages. You get the new gen Coyote, so a little more power. You can still get a V8 manual in 2024. That is awesome. So I'm never going to knock it on that. It's always going to have some points. And I love the Coyote engine for its sound, at least. I haven't owned any, but they have their fans, and I fully understand it. So yeah, that's going to be about it for this review. So overall, I think it's a good value for the money, and definitely for this performance, because it's customizable to anybody who doesn't even need to know too much about performance. You can drive it a lot of different ways, so I like it. And once again, $55,000 with some of the packages it has, not performance package, but shy of that, I think it's a very good mix, and a lot of people would not even use this to their full potential. That's for sure. It has far enough to keep a great amount of people entertained. And once again, it's an American V8 with a manual. So in 2024 and beyond for a few years minimum, that is awesome. Alrighty, I would like to thank Flood Ford Lincoln again in Narragansett, Rhode Island, for allowing me to review and test drive this Mustang. Their link is down below, so make sure to go check them out. As always, drive with passion. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.